Some people wake up one day and realize they're living a life that isn't truly theirs. It's not because they lacked effort or were lazy, but because every choice was guided by someone else's expectations. From childhood, we learn to seek approval, to be good, obedient, and quiet. We get praised for not making trouble, for doing what's right, even when it doesn't feel right inside. Slowly, we trade our own voice for the comfort of belonging. We give up curiosity for the certainty of others' rules. We suppress the real self to fit in and avoid conflict. The child inside us was once free, wild, and full of questions. But when answers come too soon, before we can ask, those answers become our cage. Our identity forms from outside in, not from our own inner truth. Take the case of Emily. She grew up in a family where her parents valued perfection more than authenticity. She was praised for good grades, for being polite and responsible, but never encouraged to explore herself. As Emily became an adult, she found herself in relationships where she always put others first. She said yes to everything, afraid of disappointing anyone. Inside, she felt empty, disconnected from her true desires. It took years before Emily realized she was living the life that others wanted for her, not the life she truly wanted. She had been loyal to others' expectations, but disloyal to herself. This pattern repeats often. A son studies law because his parents dreamed of a lawyer. A daughter stays quiet because her family values obedience. A young adult follows a career path chosen by someone else, ignoring their own passions. We inherit more than genes. We inherit fears, regrets, and unfulfilled dreams. We carry the weight of lives not lived, mistaking them for our own. But the truth is clear. You don't owe your life to someone else's past. You were not born to fix their mistakes. Your gift is truth. Living honestly may break their illusions. It may cause pain, resistance, and guilt. They might say, "You changed." What they really mean is, you stopped playing the role we assigned you. This is not betrayal. It is freedom. You can love others and still love yourself. True love demands honesty. Ask yourself honestly, which parts of you are borrowed from others? Which dreams are someone else's to chase? What parts of your life feel hollow and forced? Who are you when you are truly alone? That is the real you. That voice waits beneath the noise. Until you listen, you will chase a hollow success. Success without self is just an empty performance. No applause can fill that void. Let others be confused. Let them be disappointed. Choosing yourself looks like rebellion, but it's the only path back to your real life. Your life before the world told you who to become. You often say yes, even when you want to say no. You avoid conflict because you fear rejection. Over time, this habit builds up like a heavy weight inside. You suppress anger, frustration, and needs to keep the peace. But peace built on silence is fragile and exhausting. It's not just about being polite. It's about disconnecting from your true emotions. This disconnection causes anxiety. You feel restless. Your mind races endlessly. You replay conversations, wondering what you should have said. You doubt yourself, even on simple decisions. This is not weakness. It is the cost of hiding your truth. Meet Jake. Jake never said no to his partner's demands. He smiled, even when hurt. He ignored his needs to avoid fights. Years later, Jake felt empty. He was tired, mentally and emotionally drained. His relationship felt like a cage, but he feared change, because change means facing truth. When you always say yes, you lose your boundaries. You lose yourself. You say yes to others, but say no to yourself. Every yes is a quiet no to your own needs. This builds resentment. It creates social exhaustion. It's not social anxiety, it's emotional burnout. You feel drained because you disconnect from your real self. Your brain is always working, trying to please everyone. Your heart is silent because you stop listening to it. This cycle feeds your anxiety. It traps you in overthinking. You think, if only I did better, if only I said the right things. But the real problem is that you don't honor your feelings. This is how people-pleasing becomes a prison. You are trapped by your own need for approval. But there is hope. You can start small. Practice saying no to little things first. Notice how it feels. Does your heart feel lighter? Does your mind quiet down? Every no is a step back to yourself. Every boundary you set is a way to heal. Remember Anna. She was always the good girl. She said yes to every request, at work and in friendships. She feared disappointing others. But over time she grew exhausted. Her anxiety worsened. She started therapy. There she learned to say no. It was scary at first, but gradually she found peace. Her relationships improved, because now she was honest, not perfect, not a people pleaser, a real person. So ask yourself, what's one thing you can say no to today? Not to hurt someone, but to protect yourself, to honor your feelings, to start healing your boundaries, because you deserve to live without losing yourself. You confuse approval with love. You seek validation from others constantly. Likes on social media become your temporary high. You crave acceptance, but it never lasts. You feel empty when the applause fades. This chase drains your soul. It blinds you from your true self. You try to fit into molds made by others. To be liked, you hide parts of you. You edit your personality to match expectations. You smile when you want to cry. You agree when you want to disagree. You sacrifice authenticity for the illusion of belonging. This is the trap. The more you chase approval, the more you lose yourself. Many young people face this struggle. The pressure to be perfect is overwhelming. You scroll through feeds, seeing curated lives. You compare yourself to highlight reels. You wonder why you don't measure up. This creates anxiety. You overthink every word, every action, every post. You live by the fear of rejection. You fear being disliked more than being true to yourself. Jung called this the barrier to individuation. Individuation is becoming who you really are. But when approval becomes your goal, you stall on this journey. Here's an example. Emma constantly posts on Instagram, seeking likes and comments. She changes her style to fit trends. She avoids sharing unpopular opinions. She believes her worth depends on others' approval. But deep down, she feels disconnected. She doesn't know who she is without the likes. Emma's struggle is common. Social media amplifies this craving, but it doesn't provide real love. Real love begins with self-acceptance. You must first love yourself. To break free from this cycle, you must learn to say, I am enough, without anyone's approval. This takes discipline. It requires emotional strength. It means facing your fears of rejection and loneliness, but the reward is freedom. When you stop chasing approval, you start living authentically. Your relationships become real. You attract people who love you for who you are, not for who you pretend to be. So ask yourself, are you living to be liked? Or are you living to be real? What parts of you are hidden behind the mask of approval? What would happen if you let those parts show? Imagine the relief of no longer needing permission to be yourself. This is your path to freedom. It starts with one brave choice: choose authenticity over approval. But why do we fall into this trap so easily? It begins early in life. As children, we look for love and acceptance. We learn that behaving in ways others approve wins praise and safety. We internalize these lessons deeply. We start to silence our own needs and desires. We mold ourselves to fit the expectations of parents, teachers, peers. Over time, this molding creates distance between our true selves and the face we show the world. This gap grows wider as we age. We might think we're making choices freely, but often those choices are driven by a hidden fear of rejection and abandonment. Take James, for example. He grew up in a family where achievement was prized. His parents praised only success and compliance. James learned to suppress his own dreams to meet their expectations. He studied law because that's what was expected, but he secretly longed to be an artist. He hid this part of himself out of fear of disappointing his family. In relationships, James would always agree with his partner's wishes. He avoided conflict at the cost of his own happiness. Eventually, James felt lost and numb. He realized he was living a life scripted by others. This realization was painful, but it was the first step toward reclaiming himself. James began small. He started expressing his opinions more openly. He pursued art classes in secret at first. It was scary to break free from the roles he'd learned, but each step brought a sense of relief and growing clarity. This process is what Jung called individuation, becoming who you really are, not who others want you to be. It requires courage to face the discomfort, to risk losing approval, and sometimes relationships. But without this journey, you remain trapped in a life that isn't yours. You become a shadow of your potential. So how do you begin? First, listen inward. Notice the times you feel disconnected from yourself. When do you act to please others rather than honor your truth? Journal these moments. Ask yourself what you're afraid would happen if you acted authentically. Then, start small. Practice saying no to something that doesn't serve you. Speak your truth in a safe space. Build discipline to protect your time and energy. Surround yourself with people who support your growth. Remember, this isn't selfishness. It's self-preservation. Each small act builds strength to live your own story. When you live by others' expectations, you lose touch with your own voice. You become a version of yourself that's shaped by external demands. You act out roles that don't fit your true nature. This creates internal conflict. You feel like an actor in a play that isn't yours. The script is written by others, but you're the one performing. It's exhausting and confusing. You wonder, who am I really? Many people suffer in silence, trying to please family, friends, society. They suppress their desires, hoping to avoid conflict. But that avoidance costs them deeply. Take Lily, for example. She was raised in a family that valued stability above all. Her parents wanted her to become a doctor or lawyer. Lily loved writing and art, but she buried those dreams. She studied business to meet expectations. In social settings, she agreed with everyone. She avoided showing anger or disagreement. She believed this was the way to keep peace and love. But over time, she felt numb and hollow. She questioned whether she truly loved her career, or was she just performing to satisfy others. This inner tension led to anxiety and depression. Lily began therapy, where she learned about Jung's idea of the unlived life. This concept explained how she was living her parents' dreams, not her own. Her journey to individuation began with small acts of rebellion. She started writing again, sharing her thoughts honestly. She set boundaries with family and friends around her choices. This caused discomfort and some pushback. Her parents were confused, even disappointed. But Lily felt relief for the first time in years. She was reclaiming her authentic self. This process isn't easy. You face resistance from those who prefer the old version of you. They fear change because it disrupts their expectations. You might feel guilt, doubt, loneliness, but this is the price of true freedom. Jung believed that carrying the unlived life of others is the heaviest burden. It weighs on your soul, blocking your growth. To lighten this load, you must confront the expectations and beliefs you inherited. Ask yourself honestly, whose voice am I really hearing when I make decisions? What parts of me have I silenced to be accepted? What dreams have I put aside for approval? Recognizing this is painful, but necessary. Next, take responsibility for your own life. You can't rewrite your past, but you can shape your future. Start by reclaiming your time, your interests, your feelings. Practice saying no to roles that don't fit. Speak your truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Surround yourself with people who respect your authenticity. Discipline here means showing up for yourself daily. It means protecting your boundaries against pressure and guilt. It means trusting your inner voice over the noise of others. There is no shortcut, but each step brings you closer to the person you were born to be. You'll find joy in your uniqueness, peace in your choices, and the relationships you build will be real, rooted in truth. You won't live to meet expectations anymore. You'll live to honor yourself. That's the path to liberation. That's the life waiting for you on the other side of the unlived life. You might think living for others' approval is harmless or even kind, but it comes at a hidden cost. You lose connection to your own feelings. You start ignoring the subtle voice inside. That inner voice is your true guide. When you silence it, you risk losing yourself. Overthinking becomes constant. You replay scenarios, worry about reactions, and try to predict expectations. This mental loop drains your energy. You feel anxious even when nothing seems wrong. Like Emma, who always said yes to her partner's demands. She thought being agreeable would keep the peace. But inside, she felt frustrated and unseen. She feared conflict and believed her needs didn't matter. Over time, her anxiety worsened. She struggled to sleep, felt exhausted, and doubted her self-worth. In therapy, Emma realized she had ignored her inner voice for years. She learned to identify when she was suppressing her true feelings to avoid rejection. Setting boundaries felt scary, but necessary. She practiced saying no, even when it felt wrong. Slowly, her anxiety lessened. Her energy returned. Her relationships improved because she showed up authentically. This process requires discipline. It means resisting old habits that keep you small. It means tuning in daily to your emotions, not judging them, just noticing. It means detaching from people and situations that pressure you to hide your truth. You don't have to please everyone. Trying to do so is a path to burnout. Your energy is limited. Protect it like a treasure. When you listen to your inner voice, you learn what nourishes you and what drains you. This awareness helps you manage anxiety. You stop overthinking so much. You act with intention, not reaction. You reclaim your power. Remember, your emotions are signals, not problems. They guide you toward what you truly need. Ignoring them is like driving blindfolded. You might avoid bumps for a while, but eventually you crash. Learning emotional discipline is key. It means feeling your feelings, even the uncomfortable ones. It means pausing before reacting. It means choosing your response based on your values, not fear. Case in point, Mark always avoided arguments with his friends. He feared losing them more than anything. But this avoidance led to resentment. He bottled up anger until one day he exploded. That explosion damaged relationships deeply. Mark wished he had learned to express himself sooner, to set boundaries gently but firmly, to trust his inner voice and practice discipline in communication. Emotional detachment here is a protective skill. It's not about shutting down feelings, but about managing how you engage with them. Detaching allows you to step back, observe without judgment, and choose wisely. The skill reduces anxiety, prevents burnout, and improves relationships. Your inner voice is your compass. Don't ignore it. Discipline yourself to listen. Honor your emotions. Protect your energy. Set boundaries. Live intentionally. This is how you break the cycle of losing yourself to others' expectations. This is how you reclaim your life